you watch guys dunking and everything, but he had a different kind of bounce, you know, jumping and dunking, and I was like, okay, all right, that's kind of nice, that's kind of nice. And then the game started, and this dude was so fast and so quick. He was like, wait.
Michael was a pure shooter, too. A lot of people didn't label him as a pure shooter because of his athleticism, but I think that he was one of the best shooters to ever play, top 5, top 10 shooter to ever play.
When discussing Michael Jeffrey Jordan's career, everyone always looks at the championships, the three-peats, and the dominance in the 1990s. And while those moments, those iconic plays, they should be remembered first and foremost, Michael Jordan pre those championships and pre the 90s also had tons of great moments that nobody talks about and they get overlooked. Case in point with 1986.
I played golf with Michael on the Saturday before that Sunday game, and we played 36 holes, and I took a little bit of money from Michael that day, and that might have been a big mistake.
That's all I needed. That's all I needed for him to do that, and it became personal with me.
With 8 on the clock, Jordan ties the game.
Oh, boy.
63 points, and you're looking at an all-time record.
An incredible playoff performance. I've never seen it before, and I had never seen it after. That wasn't Michael Jordan out there. It was God disguised as Michael Jordan.
Wheels, fades, off balance. Oh. Absolutely amazing.
So as you guys might know, Michael Jordan 86, he was a sophomore in the NBA and looking to build on a very successful rookie campaign. Now, unfortunately for Jordan and Bulls fans, 3 games in the year broke his foot and missed the following 64 games. Now, the Bulls in Jordan's absence, they were a pitiful 21-43. For the majority of NBA players in today's era, they would have just packed it in, called it a season, and looked forward to the next year being 100% healthy. For Michael Jordan, he wasn't about that, as he pushed back for his management, the coach, to get back on the court and actually make the postseason.
Do you think that there's something to this business of wanting a better position, getting in the lottery?
I hope not. I mean, that just shows a losing attitude, and not just on the team, but in the front office also. We should always go out and try to win.
And the Chicago management did not want him to play anymore. He had a broken left foot. He wanted to play. They said, okay, you can play. They wanted to limit his minutes, and they did. However, he had to sit down with 30 seconds to go and the game on the line against Indiana. He wanted to play. The crowd howled, and Michael Jordan put his foot down and said to the Chicago Bulls management, I'm going to play basketball. That's what I am, a basketball player. And they had to back down, and Jordan has played. And one of the great tributes to integrity and credibility in this sport is on the shoulders of Michael Jordan, I believe.
Those clips right there are so vital, so important. It gets the foundation of Michael Jordan and what he stood for as an NBA player, as losing on his watch was simply unacceptable. Doesn't matter the odds, how bad his team was, he wants to compete, play, and have a chance to win a championship. Now, of course, this Bulls team in '86, winning a championship really wasn't in the cards. As looking at their first round matchup, they were playing the mighty Boston Celtics, led by Bird, Parrish, McHale, DJ, Bill Walton, and Hall of Fame coach K.C. Jones. When discussing the best teams in NBA history, the '86 Celtics, they're on a short list of the best teams ever. As looking at them in '86, the best defensive team in the league and a top 3 offense. The Celtics going in Game 1 versus the Bulls at home had won 33 straight games, and on the season had gone 40-1. And when looking at the Bulls' record being a 30-win team, they had lost to that bad a team at home since 1981. Long story short, the Bulls were a lamb being led to slaughter.
I have a bad feeling about this.
Now, looking at the actual series Game 1 in the Boston Garden, Celtics vs. Bulls, Michael Jordan this Game 1 quietly scored 49 points. For really any other player in league history not named Michael Jordan, this Game 1 performance will be an iconic game and a staple for the career going forward. For Jordan, it's a minor footnote. And we're looking at this Game 1 in the first half, Michael Jordan, absolutely insane. The Bulls team minus Jordan had 29 points. Jordan himself had 30. And despite that 30, Chicago was down by 2 points. What this shows already is that Michael Jordan could play a ++ game and the Bulls still could be losing. As in the second half, Jordan still played pretty well, had 19 points, on pace for 40, but Chicago got blown out and kicked out of the building. And I think the Bulls' biggest problem, noted by me and the broadcasters, they were too reliant on Jordan to do everything on offense.
I don't think they're good enough, do you, John?
No, they don't have the guns, particularly under the boards. Michael Jordan was absolutely spectacular, as we saw tonight. And his style and Orlando Woolridge's style were almost enough.
Jordan, is he single-handed for Chicago? What's the story there?
Too much for one man to try and beat the Boston Celtics. Other players have to get involved.
I think it's going to be more of a five-man game, and we really have to play a complete basketball game. I don't think one man can beat the Boston Celtics.
So Michael Jordan right there, age 22, a sophomore in the NBA, understood the team concept of winning and how one player could dominate the ball like he was doing in Game 1. Now, unfortunately for Jordan in Game 2, really has to do the exact same thing, as of course in Game 2, an NBA record, 63 points. Now that right there, for the majority of NBA fans who know history, they know Jordan in Game 2 dropped 60. Now, what you might not know is that Jordan in the second half alone scored 40 of those 63. On the NBA's all-time record books for points in a single half, Michael Jordan actually holds the record with 40 points. The current quote-unquote official record is Kevin Durant at 38. Now, one more thing that's overlooked for this game is Michael Jordan's play in the clutch. As looking at the final 2 minutes, it was anyone's ball game with Michael Jordan delivering for Chicago numerous times on the offensive end as well as the defensive end.
Now with their victory over Washington, Michael Jordan has been a sensational show again, becoming only the second team to beat the Celtics in the Garden this year. Harris, McHale, offensive rebound. The tough penetrator. Celtics by 1. All eyes on Jordan with 52. Short. Bird fires it up blindly. Harris loses it to Oakley.
Hoping you get a foul call that time. Parrish has the rebound, and a nice knockaway by Jordan right into the hands of Oakley.
That's the change the Celtics made. Michael Jordan working against Dennis Johnson. Clock running down, 3 seconds, three-point shot, no good. And a foul, late sweep.
But players do fake the foul.
And this is pressure. Overtime.
Now, those 2 shots from Jordan right there to force OT, 2 of the most overlooked shots of all time. I mean, think about the circumstances. Michael Jordan, 22 years old, a young pup, Boston Garden by himself, do or die, miss one, you lose. I mean, that pressure, that is immense pressure for a 22-year-old. And of course, Jordan, now not just 1, but 2 consecutive free throws. And looking at Jordan's overall numbers in the fourth quarter, 18 points, 1 assist, 6 of 9 shooting, and missed 2 free throws. Michael Jordan, compared to his Bulls team in the fourth quarter, was responsible for 20 of their 25 points. Essentially, it was Michael Jordan versus the world. Now, looking at the next 2 overtimes for MJ, in terms of clutch time play, clutch time heroics, it was kind of a mixed bag. Here and there, great plays, other moments, not so great plays, and crucial misses.
15. They're this close. 3 on the shot clock. Jordan, basket, good. He fouls out with 15 points. 15 up after this game. 123-121 Chicago in overtime. Jordan. And Bird got a hand on it. 16 apiece in overtime. Going into the session. Jordan over Ames.
And it goes to Borzine.
He's got to get rid of it. Here's Jordan. Jordan with a jump shot. Jordan misses the shot. He should have been tired an hour and a half ago. Ainge guarding Michael Jordan. Jordan goes up with a shot and hits it. Jordan with 8 on the clock. Jordan ties the game.
Oh, boy.
63.
Last instant, and Seaston got the easy shot. He's going to make those.
McHale is on Jordan now with 6 on the clock. He missed. Parrott. Bird, pick and roll, Parrott. Paxson looking inbound. Woolridge, 6 seconds. Woolridge for 3, way short. Throws up an air ball.
All in all, Michael Jordan in his ball game was extremely clutch. Was he perfect in the clutch? Absolutely not. As looking at his clutch time stats, 17 points, 7-12 shooting, and perfect from the line. Fourth quarter numbers, also highly impressive. 27 points, 1 assist, 10-16 shooting, and only missed 2 free throws.
Not bad.
This game from Jordan was the entire arsenal. Great defensive plays, on-ball pressure, help defense, as well as scoring in a variety of ways. Bank shots, layups, dunks, transition, half-court. Michael Jordan in this ballgame let it all hang loose. Now let's be very, very clear right here. This Celtics team, they were a great defensive team, specifically in the paint and at the rim. And despite that, Jordan finishing through 2 guys, 3 guys, double teams, triple teams, routinely. That level of resistance in the paint at the rim, compared to basketball nowadays, is night and day.
With 4 minutes to play here in the second, Doncic gets it. They double team now. Walton has come out to meet Jordan. Jordan trying to use his quickness, and it works.
Kyrie Irving, 6 points, 2 assists, just 3 of 9 from the field in the first half. Doncic gets inside.
Tempo away from the Celtics, trying to Michael Jordan right now.
10 points in this period for Ainge, and what a great shot.
To become this stellar defensive team is Doncic.
He's going to have to make a switch pretty soon.
6 points so far for Kevin McHale. Jordan, very fancy.
To give you guys some perspective, Michael Jordan in his career, he dropped 50-plus points twice for the best defense in the league. Of course, once versus Boston, but also versus the Knicks. In all the league's history, only 2 other players ever have scored 50-plus points versus the best defense in the league. That being Elgin Baylor, as well as Jerry West. And if you want to look at the top 10 games of all time, the top 10 scoring games versus number 1 defenses, Michael Jordan on this list in 86 alone has 2 of the top 10. Of course, 49 points, as well as 63. But for the entire list, has 3 of the 10. What these stats show about Michael Jordan is that versus the best teams, best defensive teams, his level of play got even higher than it normally was. Didn't get worse, remained the same. He actually got better versus the best.
Michael was spectacular, and sometimes you get hot and you score a lot of points. But that day in a playoff game in the Boston Garden, that was special.
Obviously, he was talented. Scored that many points. I don't care if it was in the church league. 63 is 63. We just didn't want him making a reputation off us.
He is by far the best guard in the league.
So Michael Jordan, Game 1 and Game 2, all 10 great performances, scoring 49 and 63. But the thing is, Michael Jordan, putting up those gaudy numbers, his team was not winning. That fact right there is the bottom line for Michael Jordan, his career, and the Bulls franchise. If you're putting up all-time great gaudy stats, that's one thing. But winning is the ultimate goal, even for Jordan at age 22.
Well, I think the important thing as far as Michael Jordan's concerned, in fact, I visited with him a little bit about it, and as far as the Chicago Bulls are concerned, of course, is that we try to win the basketball game. I think Michael really has demonstrated that he's a one-on-one, probably as fine a basketball player as we've ever had in this country. But the important thing, it's still a team game. It's still a 5-man concept as far as we're concerned with the Bulls, and Michael preaches this all the time. He'd much rather win the basketball game than to score a lot of points, I assure you.
Now, that guy right there is Tex Winter, Hall of Fame basketball coach, basketball genius. And he makes it a very clear point. Michael Jordan himself, age 22, understood ISO basketball, one-on-one basketball, was not winning basketball. So Michael Jordan, Game 3, kind of changed his style, more of a point guard, a willing passer, as was a playmaker. Now, unfortunately for the Bulls, that style failed miserably. As Jordan this game, yes, had 9 assists, but only 18 points. The Bulls in this game, they got waxed, destroyed, and late in the game, Jordan himself actually fouled out.
That's a shame.
And looking at Game 3 from the Celtics' perspective, what they forced Jordan to do in Game 3, a tad bit different than Game 1 and Game 2. As in Game 3, much more aggressive with traps, double teams, not pushing Jordan help in the paint like they were in Game 1.
You were trapping Michael earlier, forcing him to get rid of the ball. Is that so?
Yeah, what we wanted to do was trap him wherever he was so that he could not get started and get the crowd going and get those big points as he did the past 2 ball games. So we wanted to trap him, make him give it up, and then try to deny him getting the ball back.
And force the other guys to beat you.
No question about that, yeah.
And it just hasn't been flowing for Michael. Yeah, they're just following him everywhere.
Forcing him to give the ball away.
3 minutes to go, first quarter.
Celtics came out casually on Sunday, in my opinion, as opposed to the intensity they had in Thursday's game, and they paid the price in a double overtime game.
I'm looking to get to within 3. They double up on Jordan.
we couldn't just let Michael be a playmaker. So we wanted Michael to shoot a lot of jump shots. And he wasn't known as a great jump shooter. He was a good jump shooter, but he lived at getting to the free throw line and getting to the rim.
Now those clips right there from Danny Ainge, Casey Jones, very, very insightful for how they beat Chicago and stop Jordan. And looking at Ainge specifically, he said their game plan was make Michael Jordan into a jump shooter. Now some might say Michael Jordan, well, why they're doing that is because he couldn't shoot. Actually, not really true. Why Boston made Jordan a jump shooter is because 1, Jordan, if he's not driving, being aggressive, can't create for teammates, and 2, shooting jumpers, long-distance jumpers, mid-range and threes makes Jordan's game way more passive. Michael Jordan at his best is driving, getting the paint, finishing at the rim, and creating for teammates. If he's just shooting jumpers, he can still be effective, but not all-time dominant. And looking at his shooting breakdown Boston in the series, from the mid-range Jordan, 44%. In the paint, not at the rim, 52%. In the paint at the rim, nearly 60%. And from 3, was 1 of 1, 100%. And looking past Michael Jordan, the jump shooter, we have Michael Jordan, the fourth quarter overtime player. Jordan this series, on average, scored 13.3 points in the fourth or OT. That number on its own is glaring. But for some context historically, that number, it ranks 6th all time. The players in front of him, Kobe 08, Amari 05, Jamal 2020, Butler 23, and Jordan 97. Once again, Michael Jordan's stats that aren't official on the record, when they actually go on the record, make him look 10 times better.
It's true, but he shouldn't say it.
Now, speaking of carry jobs, Michael Jordan the following year, 87, one of the biggest carry jobs of all time, where he quite literally did everything. I was looking at his scoring, a whopping 37.1 points per game, the highest of his career, the most in the NBA by a mile. Jordan this year, 30 40-point games, 6 50-point games, and twice dropped 60. Also Jordan this year, 9 straight games of 40 points, tied with Kobe for the 4th longest streak of all time, only behind, of course, Wilt Chamberlain. Michael Jordan, 87 for his Bulls team, did quite literally everything. But like I've shown you guys time and time again, Michael Jordan playing that play style didn't want to really do it, but the personnel on his roster was so weak, he kind of had to by default.
Traded away the majority of the offense of this team, thinking of the future. And Michael had an unbelievable burden placed upon him to score. We've tried to do it in a team concept. Michael does not dominate the ball. We try to run him off picks. We try to get him in areas on the floor where he can use his creative ability without having to fighting 3 or 4 guys. I've been a new coach. We've got new players, new system, and it takes a while. We go into a city and they talk about Michael Jordan is going to be in town and the Bulls might come along with him. It's a team of Michael Jordan and a cast of others.
Let's define exactly what you did. I mean, 37 points per game. You took 28 shots a game. You were your team's offense, weren't you?
I was in the sense that we had to expand a lot of the other players' roles offensively, and it took some time for them to do that. I don't like to lead the league in scoring. I think that stereotypes you as an offensive player. But I think that other parts of my game was not acknowledged as well as it should have been.
When discussing the best basketball players of all time, scoring, almost all of them have that. Defensive impact, high-level defense, some of them do, but the majority of them simply don't. Michael Jordan, 87, not just a great scorer, but defensively, an absolute menace and terror. As looking at the overall numbers, Jordan, 4th in defensive win shares, 6th in defensive plus-minus, 2nd in steals, and 1st in blocks among guards, 16th overall. Michael Jordan's defensive stats that year were highly deserving of an all-defensive team. Unfortunately for him, he was snubbed, despite being top 10 in the DPOY voting. But honestly, the all-defensive teams in this case, I could really care less. The eye test watching Jordan play as a defender, it was controlled chaos, double teams, hounding ball handlers, help defense, weak side, strong side. Michael Jordan, 86, especially 87, was a menace on the defensive end.
Larry Bird from the free throw line. Oakley, Banks, and Sellers in there. Corzine getting a wrist.
Walton is out of the game, but they're going back inside now to McKick the 4th quarter. You have a double team back Corzine. They're chasing Bird out of the low post.
blocked by Jordan. That's a play.
Great passing by Boston. Great block by Michael Jordan. Tremendous block. Indicates confidence. And
there's Jordan with another steal. Quick release. Dennis Johnson open for the jumper.
I gotta keep harping on this. Michael Jordan, the defender, is underrated in 2024. These defensive plays for Michael Jordan, not only smart high IQ plays, but had the ability, the agileness, the quickness to actually follow through and complete those plays. And the biggest part about Jordan defensively, his help side defense, shot blocking in general, is like Derek White stuff on steroids. Now, staying with 87 Jordan for 1 second, looking at his playoff series versus Boston yet again, the Bulls, they were massive underdogs. And this time, it was actually worse. Chicago at this point, the third youngest team in the NBA with a rookie head coach. And Jordan's so-called running mate, his co-star Orlando Woolridge, was a member of the New Jersey Nets by 87, leaving the Bulls after 86. So Jordan at this point had less help offensively, defensively, and was still playing the Celtics in the first round, who were a juggernaut and a dynasty. And watching this series, it is very, very apparent Michael Jordan was the first option, second option, third, fourth, and fifth option. Yes, he got his 35 points, but the way he got it wasn't really highly effective, as in the field, only shot 41.7%. For some perspective, playoff MJ 13 times in a series had averaged 35 points per game. If you rank those series best to worst based off field percentage, the 87 series ranks dead last, 13 of 13. And if you want to go game by game looking at Jordan's play, game 1 the Bulls, again the Boston Garden, at halftime, it was a blowout, it was over, they're down by 19 points.
That's rough, buddy.
Surprising to me, this game actually wasn't over at halftime. Michael Jordan in the second half, especially the fourth quarter, had a very, very effective game. As in the fourth, 10 points, 3 dimes, 3 of 7 shooting, and perfect from the line.
Jordan with 34 points.
And his teammates also have confidence in his ability.
This game is, they're doubling Bird. They wanted an illegal defense call, didn't get it. Big basket by Dennis Johnson. Sedale 3 at the shot clock buzzer. It's tied at 102.
In contention.
Larry Bird. Parrish over the shorter banks. Big bucket by the Chief. 15 seconds on the clock.
They could get a three-point play off of penetration. They're going to need to get a shot here.
Sellers stepped on the baseline.
Now, stopping those clips right there, much like 86 the Bulls, they could do just enough to hang around, be competitive, but in the fourth quarter, the crunch time moments just kind of collapsed. And last play, down by 2 points, who do you blame? Brad Sellers being out of bounds, bad spacing, or Jordan going airborne? I mean, take your pick. Now, looking at Game 2, Jordan, unlike Game 1, not really noteworthy. Yeah, Jordan scored 42 points, but his 42, not really that great of 42 points. Down by 10 points in the fourth quarter, not that meaningful. So looking at Game 3 in Chicago, face elimination, this game from Jordan, it is by far one of the roughest games of his career to this point. As Jordan at home down 0-2, yes, scored 30 points, but on 30 shots.
What did you say? That's what I thought you said.
For Jordan's entire playoff career facing elimination, that percentage is the worst of his career in elimination games. Long story short, Jordan this game was absolutely awful start to finish. And that insult to injury, Jordan and the team in the fourth quarter completely self-destructed. As Jordan in the fourth, 0-6 shooting, only managed 5 points. The Bulls team as a whole shot 20% and missed 7 free throws. Out of all the Jordan playoff games this far in his career, that being 10 total games, this one takes the cake as the worst and the most embarrassing. As looking at the fourth quarter of Chicago, they were up by 7 with under 9 minutes left. From that point on, the Bulls were outscored 34-17 by the Celtics. Watching Game 3 in Chicago, the biggest problem for the Bulls, you have 4 guys watching Jordan go ISO and do everything. And if Jordan's not cooking, the offense really can't do anything, they're stagnant, and they're ineffective. To that point, the Bulls and Jordan himself, that is by far the biggest problem for this team and their lack of success in the postseason.
He ain't lying.
So that right there is the end of the video. and part 2 of 12 for the Jordan Files. As always, thank you guys for watching, hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time.